G'day folks and welcome. Today I would like to pass on an encounter that was recently well narrated by a new friend of mine, Dee Dee, who shares my passion for creating awareness. Her channel is Dee Dee's Mysterious Journals. She's kindly encouraged me to do this along with the person who experienced the encounter, who wishes to remain anonymous, along with the location for now. I encourage you all to check out Dee Dee's channel. And this is a powerful encounter and a perfect example of why I am so passionate about arming folks with knowledge, which I'll point out a little bit of afterwards. So let's get to it, eh? I think it was Bigfoot. 2 weeks ago, I considered myself a reasonably skeptic man. I was convinced that somewhere in the vastness of this realm, another intelligent life form inhabited an Earth-like planet. Whether or not said beings have visited us was up for debate. Even though I had never personally experienced anything that could be considered paranormal, I had heard enough stories to leave open the possibility. On the contrary, the notion of the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, Yeti, Mothman, and crypto things alike was laughable. As I lay in this hospital bed, crippled, in pain and in fear, my view on monsters has drastically changed. I work night shift security for a company that has been experiencing significant vandalism, graffiti, broken windows, litter, the types of things bored kids find fun to do. The building is located on the outskirts of a small suburban area. The backside, shop area, of the property faces a set of train tracks, a little travelled highway and a vast forest beyond the road. The front was offices, where I spent most of my time. My duties basically involved watching TV and playing video games while keeping an ear out for mischief outside. Once every hour I would take a stroll around the perimeter of the building. The first few months were the most eventful. It was rare that a night would pass and I didn't have to chase some kids off. A few times these encounters got a bit dicey. I'm not a gun person, so this led to me bringing my German Shepherd pup, Shoe, to work with me. He's named after Michael Shoemaker. Once the hoodlums realised that my dog didn't like strangers, they stopped coming around. The job became a breeze for a while, and then some strange things started to happen. It all started 3 Thursdays ago. It was raining that particular night. I don't make the rounds as much when it rains, as I figure nobody really cares to be out in that crap. I was working a typical 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift, and the 2 previous perimeter checks were uneventful. I donned my rain gear and headed out for the 4 a.m. check. As soon as I stepped outside, I was greeted by a horrific odour. A combination of feces, wet dog, and a dumpster on a 100-degree day raped my nostrils. I don't know if it was the smell or what, but Shoe was hesitant to leave my side. Unusual behaviour for him. As we made our way around the building, the smell still piercing our noses, my flashlight picked up the reflection of something in the grass. It was a blood trail. Shoe led the way along the path. Ultimately, we discovered a deer carcass. It was absolutely torn to shreds. Blood and guts everywhere. Both of its hind legs were missing. Once morning came around and the evidence was brought to the building owner attention, we both agreed it was most likely some type of prank. We buried the remains in a hole in a far-off corner of the property. The next night was clear but crisp. My rounds occurred more frequently. Everything was normal until around 2 a.m. It was somewhere around 1/4 to 2:30 when Shoe started freaking out. He was barking incessantly and I couldn't calm him down. I walked into the shop area and immediately heard what sounded like heavy footsteps coming from the roof of the building. A brief check around the building revealed no ladders or any other means of accessing the roof. That smell from the day before was lingering, although nowhere near as pungent. Besides my personal account, no other evidence was able to be reported to the owners. Saturday night was uneventful. Sunday evening would change my life forever. After a fairly anxious but boring 3 hours, I hear a window break. She was scratching at the door before I can even get to it. It sounded like a back of the building occurrence, so we quickly made our way around there. Everything appeared normal. No kids, no pranksters, nothing. Then Shu took off in a dead sprint. He ran straight towards a small grove of trees, separating the property from the train tracks. As I yelled for him to come back, he froze in his tracks, about 10 feet from a cluster of 4 or 5 trees. A large, muscular arm reached out and encased his head in its palm. A quick jerk of the wrist, and Shu's neck snapped like a twig. Horrified by the sight, I let out an audible gasp. Whatever this beast was, it immediately focused its attention in my direction. There are 3 entrance points to this building. The nearest 2 are locked. The only unlocked entrance point would require me to turn and run between this monster and the door. Since it was dark, I figured I could make it. I started sprinting. I made it about 25-35 yards before I felt a tug on the back of my shirt. The strength of the grip rendered me unable to escape. I fell to the ground. My heavy breathing only served to drown out the thunderous beating of my heart. I managed to gather my bearings, only to realise I was being mounted by something. I suppose it took my mind a while to comprehend what my eyes were viewing. I was being pinned to the ground by an ape covered head to toe with matted red to brownish fur. A human face, with a primate body, had pinned me to the earth. This creature's eyes glowed a vibrant red. We locked eyes, and it was at this point I came to the conclusion this beast was about to take my life. I vaguely remember trying to kick and punch my way out of this thing's control. My attempted recourse proved futile. My last memory is a bit clouded, but I can clearly recall looking this thing eye to eye and feeling a certainty of death. The giant beast picked me up and hurled my defenceless body against a tree, 20 to 28 feet up. The tree snapped in half. My helpless body served as an unsuccessful saw. I assume a Sasquatch is what broke my back and has left me confined to this hospital bed. My vertebrae lost its battle against said lumber. Bigfoot is real. Bigfoot kicked my ass. I'll never forget that smell. I'll never forget that eye contact with a creature spawned straight from the depths of hell. I miss you, and I miss my innocence. Yeah, well, folks, so what I gathered of this is it ended up a contest for food. You know, they mucked with his kill. Unbeknownst to them, in the eyes of the Sasquatch. And if this gentleman had been armed with the knowledge of Sasquatch behaviours, such as kills, the horrendous odour that accompanies them, possible stick structures, etc., it may have been prevented. I think if he'd have known it was a Sasquatch, lowering his eyes and walking back slowly may have at least eliminated the chase factor. So DD has been in touch with this gentleman, and he hopes to make a full recovery with intense physio. So folks, tell all who will listen what you know. Spread the word. Ciao for now, and God bless, and Happy New Year to all.